When Community debuted back in 2009, it was readily apparent it was a sitcom like no other. Joel McHale played Jeff Winger, an ousted lawyer who was disbarred after it was discovered his law degree was a forgery. In an attempt to actually earn a real degree, he enrolls in his local community college in Greendale, where he organizes a study group comprised of a ragtag group of misfits and oddballs, in a misguided attempt to impress Britta Perry, his crush who's very clearly out of his league. The series was witty and urbane, jam-packed with clever gags and poignant pop culture references. It felt remarkably fresh, and that's because it was. During its run, there was nothing else on TV quite like Community. The cast was sublime, the writing clever, and the special episodes kept audiences on the edge of their seats. Remember the one episode with scenes that looked like an old-school 8-bit video game? Or the animated G.I. Joe spoof? Those are all classics. It was those added pieces of flair that helped the show draw a legion of loyal and zealous fans. You might have heard about shows where the cast and crew loved each other and got along, and every bit of production unfolded very smoothly. Well, Community is not one of those. Behind the scenes of this uproariously funny sitcom was more drama than you know. Even though the show managed to be renewed for 6 seasons, there were a number of times when it looked like it was going to completely fall apart. We've learned a lot about the show's dysfunctional behind-the-scenes secrets since the series came to a close in 2015. We've compiled some of the diciest tidbits of insider intel here, so stick around. Chevy Chase wasn't happy with the show. Chase could have potentially revived his faltering career if he'd played his cards right. Community gave him a chance to introduce himself to a new generation of younger viewers that might not have been as familiar with his film roles of the 80s and 90s. But Chase kind of dropped the ball here. At first, he was excited to be on the show, but he quickly became frustrated with the long hours of filming. McHale recalls Chase often seemed exhausted while on set, and he always seemed like being there was causing him pain. Chase was also a critic of the show's writing. He didn't find the humor very funny, and on one particular occasion, he even stormed off set, refusing to film his last scene for the digital estate planning episode. Chase quickly became everyone's thorn in their side. He made more enemies than he made friends and distanced himself from the rest of the cast in an antisocial way. Dino Stamatopoulos wanted his character to be killed off. Dino played Starburns, an eccentric fella known for his sideburns, which were cut into star shapes. His character died during the basic lupine urology episode when he was involved in a car accident that subsequently led to his trunk exploding. Starburns had been somewhat of a fan-favorite character, so why did they kill him off? Dino actually asked for his character to perish. He wasn't actually an actor, but originally served as writer and consulting producer for the series before he was suckered into playing the part by Dan Harmon. Acting just wasn't his thing. Not only did he feel somewhat uncomfortable on screen, but he had a disdain for all that goes with acting on a TV series as well. He couldn't stand having to go through hair and makeup every day and waiting around for hours between shots he was featured in. He much preferred to keep his work behind the camera. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to our channel. And keep watching to find out why the cast and crew of Community hated working with Chevy Chase the most. Dan Harmon apparently harassed a writer. One of the staff writers for Community took to Twitter to call out her former boss in 2018. Megan Gans accused Dan Harmon of inappropriate and abusive behavior towards her while they both worked on the show. Gans explained it took her years to regain faith in her talents again and to be able to trust a boss when they give her a compliment or ask for her phone number. Harmon actually replied in a somewhat unpredictable way. He listened to her complaints, admitted his wrongdoing, issued a heartfelt apology, and took responsibility for his actions. Gans accepted his apology, and both parties have since moved on. Joel McHale assaulted Chevy Chase. We already mentioned how Chevy got into tiffs with his Community colleagues, but for the most part, McHale tried excessive patience. But there was a time when Joel's patience failed him, and Chevy Chase wound up injured. Apparently, Chase would often try to roughhouse with McHale between takes, and whenever he was feeling down, Joel's attempts to cheer him up were met with threats of physical altercation. McHale speculates he acted this way as some kind of passive way to express jealousy. Well, one time Chase kept asking McHale to punch him. When he complied, Chase egged him to punch him harder and harder, which he reluctantly did. Eventually, however, things turned from playful fun to a medical emergency when Chase's shoulder was dislocated, and he had to be rushed to the hospital for treatment. Yvette Nicole Brown's departure. Brown's character Shirley was another fan favorite. She was the stereotypical mom character in the study group. Shirley was a deeply religious person who was also experiencing some marital issues. But the one one thing she wanted the most was for everyone in their group to work together amicably. She was probably the most normal, whatever that means, character in the show, but she still was given her fair share of laughs. She ended up leaving the show because her dad had become terminally ill and required at-home care. She didn't think she would be able to balance her work duties with her personal obligations and decided to take a step aside and put family first. Magnitude, Community's most annoying character. Luke Youngblood played Magnitude, short for magnetic attitude, of course, a character that was intended to be annoying, but wound up becoming quite popular with viewers that found his shenanigans, antics, and signature catchphrase, pop pop, to be rather endearing. His character was only supposed to appear in one episode. His presence was meant to lampoon sitcoms that feature characters purely designed to pander to viewers, but Magnitude was able to find a recurring role in the series after audiences fell in love with him. Gillian Jacobs was displeased with the show's ratings. It's not like Community ever had a huge viewing audience. Every year for 6 seasons, it just barely got renewed, only because it amassed a fan base of young people that were particularly of interest to the show's advertisers and sponsors. Since the series seemed to always be on the verge of getting the axe, the ratings were something of great worry to cast members. Gillian Jacobs, who played Britta, was especially concerned about them. There was a bit of cognitive dissonance at play. On the one hand, she was routinely receiving massive amounts of fan mail. On the other hand, she never knew if she was about to lose her job. Chevy Chase's not safe for work voicemails. Dan Harmon and Chevy Chase constantly butted heads with each other the whole time they were working on the show. They both have strong personalities, which made their clashes all the more fiery. Remember how we mentioned Chase once walked off set? Well, Harmon made note of that happening and didn't let it go. At the wrap-up party for the season, he stood up in front of everyone, including Chevy's family, and publicly berated him. Chevy was furious. He left several angry, profanity-laden voicemails on his boss's machine. He accused Harmon of being a drunk, told him his writing was garbage, and threatened him with violence if he ever embarrassed him in front of his wife and daughter again. Dan Harmon got the boot. Harmon had developed quite the reputation while taking the helm of Community. Not only were there rumors of his alcoholism floating around, which he acknowledged as being an issue, and his constant battles with Chevy Chase, but Harmon would also be late to work repeatedly and fall asleep on the job. He was also vocal about his disdain for the network and studio brass. NBC fired him after Season 3. Season 4, however, was arguably the series' worst installment, and Harmon was called back just in time to work on Seasons 5 and 6. Chevy Chase's racism. While on set, Chase made several racially charged comments that got him in a whole heap of trouble. He was already upset with how his character, Pierce's lines, were written. His character was always politically incorrect, but as the series progressed, he became more overtly racist. At one point, Chase blurted out for all the cast and crew to hear, including Yvette Nicole Brown and Donald Glover, that his character might as well use the N-word. Donald Glover told The New Yorker a couple of years ago that Chase would routinely make racist remarks to him between shots. One particularly offensive time, he told Glover the only reason why people think he's funny is because he's black. Throughout the series' run, the phrase 6 seasons and a movie became a mantra of sorts for the show's cast and crew. Well, they've got half of that wish already, but the movie part has still to become a reality. But recently, excitement has begun to build once again for a reunion. In an interview with popculture.com, Yvette Nicole Brown revealed that a Community movie is indeed still in the works, giving fans hope they just might get the opportunity to see all their favorite characters reunited once again. Well, we'd love to hear from you. Are you excited for a tentative Community movie? What directions would you like to see the film take if it ever actually happens? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell icon to turn on notifications to keep up with all our latest videos.